All right, we're recording again, and this video is just going to be me chatting for a few minutes while I paint some miniatures and I show you how I do it. For one thing, I am painting this WizKids Goliath, but let's see if I can get the focus in. Come on now. There it is. But I am going to paint it up as a thrall from Taslanta. Now, for all the leather parts, instead of using snakebite leather, which I generally love, I am actually using Agaros Dunes contrast. And the reason for that is the Agaros Dunes is a little bit lighter and warmer brown. And whereas the snakebite leather is a bit darker. And I kind of wanted to make it where the brown was a lot warmer colored, a lot lighter brown. Now I'll do the any metallic on this character. I'll probably do with a dark silver to represent, like black iron or something like that. So boom, 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 boom. So yep. Now there is some areas that I guess could be metal, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, if they're supposed to be metal or not. So I'll just paint them brown. And then if later I'm like looking at it and I'm like, nah, that should definitely have been some kind of metallic color. You know, going over a brown with the metallic is pretty easy. So, so yeah. So anyway, I hope a lot of you guys got to watch Diversity and Dragons last night. That's pretty interesting. They were showing off the art and listening to an interview by Christopher Perkins, who is, in my opinion, one of the worst people. You know, it's like you kind of got to wonder about that guy because the only reason he's even there isn't talent, I don't think. I think he just managed to out survive everyone else. And I don't think I'm the only one to have made that comment. And it's like, yeah, because I think Diversity and Dragons might have said that too, that he just somehow managed to out survive everyone else. Because, one, and I know this is a little judgmental to say, or maybe even a lot judgmental to say, but he's simply not a very good dungeon master. Like, if you watch him run games, he's not very good. He's not very good at all. And, he strikes me as the kind of guy, I would say the main reason he's still working at Wizards of the Coast is he's the kind of lick spittle that is like constantly being a yes man and, you know, bending the knee, kissing the ring, etc. That's kind of how I feel about it. Now, I could, could I be wrong? Some of you might say, yeah, you're totally wrong. That's not how he is at all. And to those people, I'd say, yeah, I don't believe you. That is how he is. He's not a good person, and we'll leave it at that. I mean, he's not very talented. He's basically the only thing I really know him from, honestly, is he did the dungeon map in Deep Dwarven Delve, and that map is not great. It's not a really good map. You know what I mean? So the one thing I actually really know him from is like kind of crap, you know. Now I know he's done a lot of other stuff, and I assume some of it might have actually been pretty good, but just he's definitely not anywhere near the same like level of whatever as you know, some of the other guys who worked at TSR, like Jonathan Tweed or Monty Cook, obviously, let's say, or um, you know, those guys. So it's like, anyway, yeah, I would say he keeps his job because he kisses all the right asses, you know. All the right asses in all the right places. Oh yeah, he's going down. Yeah, that's just my theory. Um, Again, agree if you want, disagree if you want. And the other one that I think is kind of like that is who else to talk about? Well, our boy Garibay did a whole video saying that everyone who plays OSC games, because OSC games don't have all the warnings about whatever in them, then the people who play them are just bad people. That I mean, that's the gist of the video. And again, a lot of this is stuff you could have seen on Diversity and Dragons, but I'm just talking about because, well, I watched it and now I want to talk about it, right? And it's kind of just sad and stupid to listen to him speak. You know, it's like have you ever listened to somebody speak who's so full of shit that you don't believe that they believe what they're saying? And that has been my relationship with Jay Scott forever, you know. It's like, and I've had people who actually game with him in real life tell me, no, this is not a put on. This is not, you know, whatever. He believes this stuff. And I'm just like, no, come on, you know? And it kind of, it kind of affects my view of humanity in a way because it's like how can somebody be that stupid, you know? So he went on his tirade about how OSR players are all racist bigots, whatever. He did a whole thing about how old school games misrepresented women. And I'm like, you know, I think Double D might have mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it. Misrepresented women in which way? Uh, in the way that they can be warriors and have the same strength and physical attributes as men? Because that would be a misrepresentation of women because they simply can't and don't. So if you wanted to talk about role playing games misrepresented women, the fact that they allow women in these role playing games to have the equal physical attributes to men, that's a huge misrepresentation. Um, you know, it's not something that could ever be in reality a thing, you know, because the fact of the matter is the vast majority of women are not as physically capable of, you know, feats of strength or whatever as the vast majority of men. They just are not. And that's okay. You know, that's just the way life is. And, you know, there's no reason for anybody to be mad about it. It's just the way it is. And this is why a man can claim to be a woman and join the female swim team and go from 300th place to breaking every record, etc. And it's because, yes, there's men and women are not physically equal, and they never will be. I mean, on the podcast that Andrew Wilson is off and on, uh, they had this woman. She's like a 140-pound woman who had like a black belt in Krav Maga. Try to take down just a full-grown man who apparently had no background in anything, and he embarrassed her. He absolutely just embarrassed her. And at the end, nobody was hurt, thankfully. But yeah, he just tied her up in a big ball, and that was pretty much that. So, 140-pound woman, heavily trained in Krav Maga, which is, a pretty, legit martial art, versus untrained dude. And the untrained dude just completely smacks her around, Uh, not really, but you know what I'm saying. Just whips her ass, just ties her up in a knot, and just had, whatever, right? To the point that she surrendered because she realized there's just nothing she's going to be able to do about it, So may as well just be like, well, good fight, So that, in my opinion, is the real misrepresentation of women in fantasy role playing. The fact that, the rules allow women to have the same level of strength, stamina, etc. as men, when in reality they just simply do not. Of course, we're talking fantasy games, so that's okay. But then again, when your name is J. Scott Garibay and you're constantly talking about the misrepresentation of women, I mean, I want you to tell me exactly what do you mean? What do you mean by misrepresentation of women? And what world are we talking about? Are we talking about Greyhawk? Are women misrepresented in Greyhawk? Are they misrepresented in Forgotten Realms? Are they misrepresented in Kuratur? I mean, what misrepresentation are we talking about exactly? Because otherwise, Garibay just sounds like somebody hitting some talking points to try and get some good boy virtue, points from somebody. I don't know who. I mean, the guy's married, so it's not like he's trying to hook up with one of these purple haired chicks. So you wouldn't think he'd feel the need to, say any kind of stupid shit, So yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But that's what he did. He basically went on and on and on and said anybody who plays OSR games is, an evil, horrible monster. Well, that's about all I can say about it. Evil, horrible monster? Really? Me? I don't think so, but maybe. I mean, I don't have a lot of time or whatever for people who act a fool or just, generally speaking, are, dill holes. So maybe I am a horrible, evil monster. Maybe it's possible. But yeah. Yeah, this. And he mentioned the minorities that were not whatever. And it's like, it reminded me of Kingdom Come when it came out and everybody was freaking out that there were no black people in, like 1600s Bohemia. And it's like, these people, they're just stupid, and The thing that's really bad about it is they don't know they're stupid. They think actually that they're smart, but they're not. They're really dumb, and it would be sad if it weren't, anything else. I guess it would just be sad. And then since I'm doing my own take on the Dungeons and Diversities live stream, um, the whole Condor DM thing, talking about how he will physically pull so and so's pants down and give them a little spanking and stuff. First off, that sounded gay as hell. But secondly, no one's impressed by Condor DM, you know, and you can't be, because Condor DM is the RPG scene's biggest victim, you know? It's like no matter what is going on, he will do whatever he can to somehow be the victim. And me personally, I have no respect for weakness. If you act weak, in my opinion, then I'm sorry. Weak people make me want to crush them. It doesn't make me want to help them or lift them up. It makes me want to crush them into the dirt. Yes, I know that's a horrible way to be, but I'm a horrible human being. Admittedly, I am the worst amongst us. But yeah, so when somebody acts like a victim, it doesn't make me want to help them. Now, Condor ends up watching all my videos. I will say this, he lost a lot of weight. He still, for some reason, looks like he's fresh out of a coal mine. But he did lose a lot of weight, and that's braggable. And if he's going to make videos talking a bunch of shit, then maybe he should make some videos about what he did to go from, where he was to where he is. That could be actually useful to some of the people who might still watch his channel, I know for me, I went on a keto diet and I dropped about 80 pounds pretty quick. Now, since then, I've gained a little bit of that weight back, but not much, like 15 pounds. Because, holidays come and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so that's how I lost the weight as quick as I did when I did, is I just freaking went on a straight up keto diet, did not eat any kind of carbs except for, whatever might be in spinach and mustard greens and whatever. And I just ate meat, specifically beef, A lot of people will say chicken, but for me, not a huge bird fan. But boy, I do like the moo meat, cow meat. So that's what I did. And believe it or not, like I would wake up in the morning, I would have one piece of black toast. So black bread. So we're talking like pumpernickel, whatever, right? With one fried egg, and that would be it. And then for lunch, I would have some kind of meat sandwich in a keto-friendly wrap. And then for dinner, I would have, a steak or something like that, right? And always with spinach or mustard greens or turnip greens, always. And dude, it was like within 3 or 4 months, I dropped 80 pounds. It was nuts, like, yeah, it was crazy kind of weight loss, because it's like, damn, that's getting to where you're losing weight so fast that you might even need to calm down, because, plus I started exercising a lot more. I bought a couple of kettlebells, started doing some kettlebell work routines and whatever, which I need to get back to. I've never been real happy with how my arms are now because, 20 years ago that I was jacked and now I'm like, bleh. And to quote the Rolling Stones, it is a drag getting old. So there's that. So Condor, instead of just basically attacking everyone all the time, and then when people go back at him trying to play the victim, I really wish he would make videos talking about his journey, in weight loss and what he did and why. I also wish he would make more videos about AD&D and stuff like that without trying to be, a monstrous freaking douche nozzle about it. Am I likely to get my wish? Probably not, because Condor is a petty guy. And once you and he have gotten into an argument, it's like he can never, ever forgive or put it aside or whatever, And I know Diversity and Dragons was like apologizing, like maybe we were wrong about Condor's wife leaving him for his brother. But I just want to reiterate, Condor said that. Condor said that. You can look it up. He said that. So if somebody wants to feel bad about it, that's their object. I mean, that's your freaking prerogative, to quote Bobby Brown or whoever it was. But don't be all like they're making up lies about me. It's like, bro, you said it. You said it. And we were all like, what the F, That's terrible, right? So if that's not true, well, then maybe you shouldn't have said it. Because, I mean, if you're going to tell lies about yourself, don't get all like ass mad when people think you're telling the truth. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, call me naive, but if somebody tells me something, a lot of times I believe them, especially if they're talking about themselves and especially if the thing they're saying is not very flattering. Because my mind logically thinks, why in the hell would someone lie about their wife sleeping with their brother? I mean, who would lie about that? That is insane. So, yeah, Condor being mad that that story's out there. Again, you're the one that started that story, homie. You're the one that started it. So if it's not true, well, good, because God, I'd hate to think somebody got done that bad by their own brother. That's just, I mean, me and my brothers are so close that the idea that someone's brother could do them that way actually just makes me sad, for that person, like when I talk to people and they're like, me and my brothers aren't very close, I always feel a little bad for them because I always feel like, damn, man, what must that be like, to like have a brother but not be very close to him? It would have to suck, right? It's kind of like when I've talked to friends and they've been like, I don't really like my mom. And I'm like, wow, it's so hard for me to understand because I've always really, really admired and liked my mom. So the fact that there are people out there in the world who have such a different relationship with their parents is just so strange, to me. But yeah, if Condor's wife didn't leave him for his brother, uh, that's on Condor because he's the one who said it. And if Condor, I know you're listening to this, if you don't like that, well, sorry about your luck, homie. But don't say shit and then get all like butthurt when other people are like, damn, did you hear about that? That's crazy, right? So that was pretty much the whole thing. So to recap, Chris Perkins is still a freaking monumental douchebag. And the sooner they get rid of him from Wizards Coast, the better, honestly. He is an anchor around their neck, an albatross, etc. I mean, they need to get a masculine man in charge of that shit that's willing to stand up and be like, no, we're not doing this lame ass bullshit where, we're not going to do a prom thing again because, whatever. As a matter of fact, maybe fire all the weirdos from there. Not just Perkins, but like all of them. Like, if you fit on the alphabet anywhere, you're gone because you are allowing your mental illness to ruin a fantasy role-playing game. And really, nobody's got time for that kind of shit, right? And then hire a bunch of Midwestern or Southern good old boys, who like D&D and hunting and fishing and know that there's two sexes, etc. And let them be in charge of D&D for a while. See what they cook up. It'll probably be something like Castles and Crusades, honestly. And immediately take all the warning labels off of the old D&D stuff, because if you're an adult and you are so mentally weak that you need warning labels and safety tools and, red cards and yellow cards and shit, you should not be playing role-playing games. You should be seeking therapy. Or better yet, going to your nearest priest and getting help with your mental problems. Because what the safety cards and all that shows is that you're the kind of person that cannot differentiate between fantasy and reality. And I'll tell you what, I do not want to game with somebody who doesn't know the difference between a fantasy and a reality. And people who can't tell the difference between fantasy and reality should not be playing D&D. I mean, that's how you end up with a mazes and monsters situation, right? So if you're the kind of person who can't tell the difference between a man and a woman, or can't describe what a woman is, etc., you probably should not be playing fantasy role-playing games, because you have deep-seated emotional and mental trauma that you need to work through before you start pretending to be an elf or something. You know what I mean? This is a game for adults who have a firm grip on reality. And if you're not one of those people, this is not a game you should be playing. And that's not just my opinion, but that's that's a fact. Mentally ill people should not be playing fantasy role-playing games, because there is that option that they can fall down the rabbit hole. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Peace and love. I'll catch you out later, and thank you for listening.